Hello there, welcome back. This is Al. As I mentioned before, I would continue working on this dialogue thing, and I'll get to this one in a minute. A couple of things I added was one of the things anyway is this debug tracing, which shows messages coming into the window, into the dialog, I guess from the children. Default handling for things like this cancel button and the OK button. Just ends the dialog. They can be overridden, as I've done here on OK. So here I don't have to check for the ID of the OK button. Just getting the text and returning the default handler, which will quit with the right ID. The tracing, as it is, if I get rid of these filters, oops. Add that in, get that out. If I get rid of the filters, I get everything that the dialog is receiving. My output, you can see that's quite a lot. There's a lot of moving the cursor around, and it's hard really. It's harder to make sense of the output. So that's why I added this filter thing. I don't want anything with the word cursor. I don't want anything with NC. That means non-client messages. I don't want mouse. I don't want icon. I don't want colored button, whatever that is. Maybe I might want them later, but I was more interested in seeing the other sorts of messages, like here, a command message that I wouldn't have seen before. W-param is split in two because it's typically a two-value thing. I'm not sure what this color edit thing is. Activate and activate app are two things that need to be discussed later. Also, you'll notice that this window itself has that transparency. It didn't have it before, and I realized why. And that had to do with initializing these, what they call common controls, which I just added into common. So you don't have to call it yourself. Where is it? Oh yes, and the other thing is that now, so I'm using the same common lib for either Windows or console programs, and they have different entry points. So I invented a number defined that you have to set to indicate which version of common. Now, what I could have done, really, and should do, is make a separate lib that just selects that one of them contains this code, and one of them contains this code, and link one or the other console programs with this one, and windows with this one. It's not so hard with the number define, except that you have to recompile common every time you switch. But anyway, up here at the top, you just choose one or the other of these, depending on which program, what kind of program you're making. If you choose neither, then it gives you a message and tells you choosing the wrong one will just result in a linker error. So you can't really go wrong. And this is the init common control thing. Okay, so there's that. Oh, one other thing I added to this. Now, one way to demonstrate it, I suppose, I don't have much. What's a good message to work with? Let's have a look at the messages. Sys command. What about that sys command? Capture chain. I'm trying to think of a message that won't kill the dialog. I can use. Alright, a better way to show it is this. This isn't the default for a good reason. Now it's possible for the border to make it sizable. And when you do that, well, for one, these don't look right, but this is the default behavior you're going to get. Okay. So let me move this down first a little bit. Move these two up. Leave it on resizing, and in my constructor, what did I call it? Rescale child control true. When this is on, what this has the effect of doing is that when the size of the it's just true. This turns it on. I don't have a way to turn it off. Is that right? Oh, that's not the function. I must have added a function for it. Oh, turn auto rescale. Okay. What this does is just basically rescale the dialog if it happens to change size. But that's not really the kind of behavior that you want. See, it's okay, but typically you don't want the buttons to change size, or you might not want to. And you'll see that, this should now be centered. It's not perfect, but it does allow you to have if you had a great big amount of text in here, a big long line of text, see. This, you can see it on, instead of it scrolling away. But it's not perfect. There are things other things you can do with some of the controls, so that right there, that certain things will always say it keeps their relative width, or maintain their distance from the bottom, or something like that. And so anyway, that's why it's optional. What you would use this for, really, would be if you change the, let's say you change the font size, on the fly, and you changed it to some bigger font, then you would want to rescale everything, so the letters would still fit on the buttons, right? So this is the behavior without. But anyway, that's not the other. That's not what I really wanted to get to in this update. Okay. As I said, maybe about 10, 20 tutorials ago, I wanted to make that animation. Oh, by the way, before I do explain that, I added an icon to a program. If you want to see it, you can't really see it when you run it from here because of this thing. But if I turn that off, then you'll see the icon. See? So now it has a nice little icon. And it's a 32 by 32 icon, which I stole from another program. It normally looks, the 64 by 64 is actually quite a bit nicer looking than this. I had to install a special program to convert icons into a format that was understandable by this version of MS-DEV, and it has taken over the responsibility of drawing these icons. It's not drawing them correctly. That program is freeware. And I have no clue how to use it. I just know that I accidentally hit the right thing and it saved my icon. But while that's loading, we can get to this other new project where I want to make that animation go, which was the thing I said I wanted to do. And well, actually, this is here is like more like a comment. Where that stupid program go? Oh, yeah. Well, somehow, if you can't get an icon to work, install this program and Maybe I can just drag one of these in here. See? This is what an icon really is. It's a bunch of pictures. Okay, now you can show and hide different layers. Now, see, this is what it really looks like. That's what should be showing up in the preview here. But for some reason, these extra ones, which I guess I must have deleted. How big is this? No, see, mine's 32 by 32. This is 64 by 64. And I wanted to save it as that size, but I guess I made a mistake. Nope. And yeah, so see, icons have different sizes because of the different ways you view things. Either you view large icons like this view, or medium, or extra large. Things that turn up here are the small versions. So inside of programs icon resource, instead of rescaling the images, it just shows one or another of the icon associated with the particular size. Now look at that. I fixed something that allows me now to have two boxes. Anyway, so like as usual, since I do everything backwards, here I have a dialog, okay, and what I want to do is I want to draw that animation. So in typical backwards style, starting with the dialog, I've added here a custom control. Okay, now all custom control is a regular old window. Usually the starting point of an application is you start with a window, and then you might want to add some dialogues to interact with the user. Here I'm starting with a dialog, and I'm creating a window, a regular old window, to add to my dialog. So that means I gotta do the regular old window style. And disregarding again this bit, that means I've got to do one of these. I got to create a window class. Okay, I want to see this. Well, first let's go through this bit. Now, there's two types of Win class structures. One is this simplified version, and there's an EX version with extended stuff. Okay. Icon cursor. Now this cursor doesn't seem to be working, it turns out. But anyway, run the help. Style first. Okay, I chose these various styles. Own DC means that this window has its own device context. I think I need that. I don't want to borrow the device context of the dialog, though maybe I could. It needs a window procedure, which is not the same as a dialog procedure. These two bits, class extra and wind extra, if I run this now, it'll make more sense what that means. Here's the dialog. Okay. Now I'm drawing this, but if you look at the spy, now here's the window. Okay. Here's its window proc. That's obviously this window proc that I've created. Okay, that's different. It's almost the same as dialog proc, except the return value is not a bool. It could be any kind of number, positive or negative. Now it's this window bytes. Now you know how normally these things have something, right? Some kind of window bytes. All these say unavailable, right? Now these window bytes are things that you allocate when you create a window. Now mine has nothing, because this particular class I've defined, any window created with this class doesn't get any extra bytes available to it, and that the class has no extra bytes. I don't know. It doesn't seem to show class bytes. Oh yeah, here. There's no class bytes either. Do these have class bytes? None of them do. Class bytes are sort of user data area for the window class. As far as, okay, the class name is called TsAnimationClass. That's the class name. Process, yeah, I've seen that before. Now, you see it has a control ID, 3EB. That's 1003. And you'll notice that's the identifier, okay, in my dialog resource. For this object. See? IDC animation, IDC animation. And the reason for that comment is the way it implements that is for child windows made in a style like this, it would be impossible for them to have a menu entry in their class. In the window, this is specifying for a class, but eventually there's a create window, an instance of this class, and that also specifies a menu handle. Right here I've got null here. But in the if I just wanted to create one of these on its own, I could give it a menu. But if it's created as a child in a dialog box, then it turns out that it can't have its own menu. And so in place of the menu part of where it does the create class, create window I should say, see there's an hMenu parameter here as well. And if you read it, handle to menu or specifies the child window identifier depending on the style. For overlap or pop-up window, okay, that's like a dialog. Then it identifies it a menu. Can also be null. For a child window, hMenu specifies the identifier, and an integer value can be used by a dialog box control, for instance, to notify its parent about events. So this guy, an instance of this class is created for that dialog that we saw, and here's its window proc. And of course, I'm starting with basics, everything's static. Obviously, we're going to do a similar thing like with the dialog, try and make a class out of this. But anyway, now that means I've got to handle things like WM Paint, which means draw yourself, And here's the sum total of all the information on custom controls in the entire help system. Yeah, where is it? If I could find it. It is in here somewhere. Not this, no. Oh, wait a minute. Ah, somewhere in here. Here. Custom controls. Okay, now all this stuff is like here it is. This is the entire help given on custom, like a application defined control. Okay, so that's all you get to go on. At a minimum, the procedure draws the control. Okay, processes input messages. If it supports control messages unexplained, the window procedure processes messages sent to it by the parent. For example, so they give one example, get DLG code, which I could process. I have no idea how to process it. And I am getting them. In fact, I'm printing them out. Now, one of the things I found out because you're going to see something happen here. Here I'm tracing out all the messages coming to my special control. See, mouse messages. Like that. Now you see the text moving around? It's following where the cursor is. And the way I'm doing that is when I get an L button message, I'm just saving off these numbers, which are apparently in client coordinates. And there's something called client coordinates, and there's something called logical coordinates, and screen coordinates, and dialog coordinates, and so on and so forth and so on. Now this is relative to the upper left corner of the client area, and when I'm getting a WM paint, which I would not get unless I call this invalidate. This invalidates my window rect, meaning it needs to be redrawn. Then I'm drawing a rectangle with whatever my brush and pen values happen to be, which I suppose I could create. You know, maybe I could make a hollow, transparent brush or something. I'm drawing a rectangle, and then I'm drawing a text at those coordinates where the last click was. And that appears to be the correct place. See, it's certainly where the mouse is. And that's what I want. You'll notice it's clicked. And I'm doing that on purpose. I don't have to click it. See, I'm getting a region, something called a region, well, rect. I'm getting a clip box. So I start with a rectangle. I get a clip box, which I then, and that is combined with, this is somehow using the handle to device context of my window to generate this rect. Now I'm drawing a rectangle indicating that where that clip box is, and I'm using the HDC to write text. Now I don't think it necessarily has to get clipped. See, now there's another way to get the HDC, but it wouldn't work. You have to do this begin paint and end paint in order to actually have something appear, I think. Anyway, the point is that there is a regular old style window. I didn't call create window myself. The dialog box param did that for me. It gave it an identifier, which it took out of the resource file. Here it is. It's a control. Its identifier is this. Its class name is this. Its position and dialog coordinates is this. This is some style stuff, I guess. Mine has it. These ones don't. The caption, the name of the window, is called animation. So if I did get window text for this, it's not going to give back hello world. That's just a picture. As you can see from Spine, right? Its caption is, so let's move on down there. The caption the caption of this window isn't hello world. That's just a picture. The caption is animation, which I set here. The caption is in fact not visible for this window. You know, I could print out the caption. I could do get window text here, right, and then print it out, which is what these things do. Okay, well, that's just an update. Now I'm going to try and figure out how to make an animation, and then I would like to turn this regular old style windows into a type of similar class like that dialog thing, so that we could have maybe more than one animation object on our dialog box, or maybe draw two different animations, or have them do the same animation but at different rates or something or other, or one goes backwards, one goes forwards. Who knows? Okay, well, I'll let you know when I have something to tell you. Bye-bye.